Pastor Julian here with Central's Devotion for today. I hope you're doing well. Today I would like us to take a look at Colossians chapter 1, verses 15 to 17. I love this passage. I may even have done a devotion on a part of this before, but I wanted to clear up some confusion about verse 15 because this has caused some problems in the life of the early church, which got clarified and unified the church in a major piece of theology. But it also helps us to have a better understanding of the gravity and power of Jesus Christ. And so here is what Colossians chapter 1 verses 15 to 17 says. It says that he is the image, talking about Jesus, he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For by him all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things were created through him and for him. And he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. How incredible is this? Let's just take a little bit of a deeper look here. And this is the confusing part. Like I said, verse 15, he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. Because when we read this, we think maybe, because it says creation, we think back to Genesis and we think, oh, well, man was made in the image of God. And Adam was born, right? Like he wasn't born, God made him, but he was a created being. And so we think here, well, Jesus, image of God or reflection of God maybe, and he is created or made by God. That couldn't be farther from the truth. That's why this verse can be quite confusing. And this isn't the only place where the Apostle Paul or somebody else describes Jesus as the firstborn. We also can see Jesus being referred to as firstborn in Colossians 1:18, which is coming up in a few more verses, Romans 8:29, Hebrews 1:6, and Revelation 1:5. But in no way does the title firstborn indicate that Jesus is less than God, nor does it indicate or refer to Jesus as just being a reflection of God. See, the Greek word used for image of God in this particular passage refers to Jesus being a likeness. Like the Greek word is meant to be like a likeness on a coin, or in a more fuller sense, the manifestation. And the Apostle Paul used the correct word with here, and he was very intentional in this word, meaning more of a logos. I don't want to get, but God, that Jesus is the manifestation of God. He is God. So when it says the image of God here, he's talking about Jesus is the manifestation of God. God is all on him. He is the imprint, the manifestation of God that was brought to us. It says firstborn of all creation. And the word, see, we were going for like kind of a Greek lesson. The word here used for firstborn is prototokos, And it does not mean that Jesus was made, okay? And this is what Arius taught, and which is a heresy, is that Jesus was made, and indicating that Jesus is perhaps lesser than God because God just made him, and that he isn't eternal with God. Jesus is eternal with God. He was not made. And so this term firstborn, the prototokos, indicates that that Jesus was before everything. That's what it's talking about. It was before everything that we know. He is above all, before everything that we know. And so if you look at some of the ancient rabbis, they refer to Yahweh as the firstborn of the world. So, and then if you look into some of the theology of the Messiah and the expectations of the Messiah, they describe the Messiah like Jacob, the firstborn of Israel. Israel is the firstborn. That the Messiah is the firstborn of the world. So, to sum up what's going on here with this very confusing passage, reading it at face value, is that the Apostle Paul is declaring Jesus to be the manifestation of God, who is the Messiah. So when we read this passage, in verse 15, this verse, he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. We interpret this and read this as Jesus is the manifestation of God. He is God, and he is the Messiah of the world, the firstborn of all creation, before all things. And it says, for by him all things were created, as God is the creator in heaven and on earth, visible or invisible, whether thrones or dominions, rulers or authorities, all things were created through Jesus and for Jesus. This is all descriptive words of him being God. And then it says, and he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. So just, after clarifying that, understanding that Jesus is God, he is the Messiah, through him all things were created with God, but Jesus created us and everything here, and we were created by him, and we were created for him. And that is where we have our identity, is in Jesus. And Jesus is before all things and in all things, and in him all things hold together. We like to think of gravity as the most important force in this world holding everything together, because without it, we'd all just be floating around, falling apart. You've seen images from the space shuttle and spacecraft. But the real source, the real source keeping everything together, holding everything together in this, on the planet Earth and in this universe, is Jesus. Without him, everything falls apart. God bless you, and have a great day.